You pressed the button and then waited 2 weeks to find out what you had. Not a good picture, not a bad one, nothing. The photograph did not exist yet. What sat on that roll of film was 4 atoms of silver and a promise. And the thing that finally killed all of this was not the thing you remember. 24 exposures. That was the number most families bought, and it had to cover everything. A birthday, a vacation, Christmas morning, sometimes all 3 on the same roll because nobody finished a roll quickly. A photo lab in Newark, New Jersey published a price list in January of 1975. Kodacolor, 20 exposures. Processing included $5.50. Adjusted for inflation, that is roughly $32 for 20 pictures. You rationed, you raised the camera, looked through the viewfinder, and asked whether this moment was worth one of your 24. Nobody taught anyone to think that way. The arithmetic did it for you, and when the roll was finally full, the picture-taking part was over. The waiting part began. You wound the film back into its canister, you put it in an envelope, and you drove it somewhere. For millions of Americans, somewhere was a small gold building in a parking lot. Fotomat opened its first drive-through film kiosk in Point Loma, California, in 1965. By around 1980, there were more than 4,000 of them across the United States and Canada. Pyramid roofs, painted gold, blue and red lettering, a single window set at the height of a car door. You never went inside because there was no inside. The booth was tiny. One person worked it alone for a whole shift. The company called the women who staffed them photomates and required them to wear hot pants. The men were called photomacs. The huts had no bathrooms. Employees worked out informal arrangements with whatever supermarket shared the parking lot. You handed your film through that window to a stranger in a gold box, and then you went home and waited. Overnight, if you were lucky. Longer if the roll had to travel. We remember the gold booths. We forget the strange, invisible science inside them and the legal battle Kodak fought to control it. Here is the part nobody mentions. While you waited, you did not actually own a photograph. You owned a chemical rumor of one. When light struck that film, it did not draw an image. It rearranged a few atoms. A grain of photographic film is a crystal of silver halide. Light knocks a handful of silver atoms loose on its surface, and those atoms cluster together. Writing in Physics Today in 1989, the researcher Tadaaki Tani put the minimum at 3 or 4 atoms. 4 atoms of silver. That is the entire photograph. It is far too small to see, not faint, invisible to any instrument you could point at it. Photographers called it the latent image, which is a polite way of saying the picture that is not there yet. Development did not reveal that cluster. Development used it. Those 4 atoms work as a catalyst. Drop the film into developer, and the cluster triggers the conversion of every silver ion in the crystal around it. Tani measured the gain at over 1 billion to 1. Consider that again. Your photograph was amplified out of 4 atoms by a factor of 1 billion in a plastic tray, in the dark, by a person you had never met. The film did not record your picture, it recorded instructions for building one, and the film was talking to your camera too. Look at an old film canister. There is a pattern on the side, silver and black rectangles in 2 rows of 6, right beside the barcode. Most people assumed it was decoration or something the lab scanned. It was neither. Kodak introduced DX encoding in 1983, first on a film called Kodacolor 5R 1000. The silver patches conduct electricity, the black ones do not. Inside the camera, small electrical probes pressed against that grid when you dropped the roll in. Patches 2 through 6 told the camera the film's speed across 24 possible steps. Patches 8 through 10 told it how many exposures were on the roll. Your camera was reading the canister by touch, like Braille. None of this was truly yours, though. For nearly 20 years, you could not buy Kodak color film without also buying Kodak developing. Kodachrome was sold with the processing folded into the purchase price. Independent labs were barred from developing it. The roll went back to Kodak by mail because you had already paid for that, whether you wanted to or not. The arrangement handed Kodak more than 90% of American color photo finishing. In 1954, the Justice Department called it what it was, an illegal tying arrangement. A consent decree permanently barred Kodak from connecting the sale of its color film to the processing of it. The yellow mailing envelope that people remember so fondly was not a convenience. It was a monopoly, and it took a federal court order to pry it open. Which brings us to the strangest part of the whole arrangement. Somebody else saw your photographs before you did. Every frame ran past a lab technician who checked color, density, and quality. Your kitchen, your children, your holiday, your mistakes. A person you never met, whose name you never learned, looked at your entire visual life first, then handed it back to you in a paper envelope. It went further than etiquette. Photo finishers carried legal reporting duties. Many states required commercial developers to report certain images to authorities. A federal statute in 1990 extended that duty to processors on federal property. The industry objected that it could not be done at volume. Nobody could inspect millions of prints and make legal judgments about them. The plain point is simpler than the law, though. The film lab was a checkpoint, and almost nobody thought of it as one. An entire era handed over every photograph it took to a stranger without hesitating, and then remembered itself as private. But while Fotomat was dominating parking lots, a quiet invention in Japan was about to make the whole empire obsolete overnight. Now, ask most people what killed the little gold kiosk in the parking lot, and they will say digital cameras. They are wrong by roughly a decade. In 1976, a Japanese company called Noritsu built a machine known as the QSS-1. It was the first machine that could develop film and print color pictures in one compact unit. 1 hour, not overnight, 1 hour while you finished your shopping. A drugstore could buy one. A supermarket could buy one. And they did. American mini-labs went from roughly 600 in 1980 to about 14,700 by the late 1980s. Between them, they took nearly a third of a $4.5 billion market. Fotomat existed for one reason. It was faster than mailing your film away. Against 1 hour overnight was worth nothing. Its market share fell from 18% to 2%. 4,000 kiosks became 800 by 1990. Digital cameras did not kill the Fotomat. Film killed the Fotomat by getting faster than itself. The industry did not always help itself either. Kodak launched disc film in 1982, 15 exposures arranged around a flat spinning disc, each negative 10 mm by 8. A negative that small demands exceptional printing optics, and Kodak specified 6-element lenses for the job. Many labs did not bother. They ran the discs through the ordinary 3-element lenses already sitting in the machine, built for much larger negatives. Prints came back grainy and soft. Customers blamed the camera. Kodak stopped building disc cameras in 1988. A format the public still remembers as poor was partly sabotaged by the people printing it. And then the whole thing ended quickly. Here is what almost nobody expects. Film did not fade out gently across the 1990s. It peaked in the year 2000. The Photo Marketing Association counted 786 million rolls of film sold in America that year, alongside 162 million single-use cameras. By 2011, that was down to about 20 million rolls. Film camera sales fell from 19.7 million units to 280,000 in 9 years. 97% gone. A 100-year habit came apart in about a decade, starting from its own high water mark. What replaced it was not really a better camera. It was a small screen on the back, showing you what you had just taken. That screen deleted the weight. Everyone agreed the weight was the bad part. But the weight was doing something. 24 exposures made you choose. You looked at a moment and decided whether it was worth one of them. You cannot ration something that is free. And you cannot be surprised by an envelope when you have already seen the picture. Somewhere in a closet, there is a paper envelope, negatives still in the sleeve, and a set of doubles nobody ever gave away. 24 moments from a year when somebody decided each one was worth it. Thanks for watching Quiet Antenna. If this kind of hidden system history is what you're into, there's more where this came from. Because this channel lives in exactly this territory. Like, subscribe, and let us know what you want to see next in the comments.